Welcome to the Virginia is for Laughers podcast, brought to you by X2 Comedy. If you're looking to get more out of your Shenandoah Valley experience, then this is the podcast for you. You'll meet interesting people, musicians, and comedians that perform here and find out more about what you can do and see. Whether you live here or plan to visit, listen to explore what makes our unique slice of heaven. Now here's your host, Don Davis Womack.
Hello, Lappers. I'm super thrilled to introduce you to national touring comedian Big Daddy Laugh-A-Lot. He's hilarious, original, and motivating. His material is clever enough to tickle the funny bone of the most demanding comedy fan, while also relatable enough for all to enjoy. He started his career unknowingly 20 years ago after he was asked to fill in as a host at an event he was attending. Before he knew it, the crowd started laughing continuously, and by the end of the day, he was asked to host another event as a comedian. Big Daddy Laugh-A-Lot incorporates his journey of wholeness through his life decisions and weight loss into his role as a comedian and motivational speaker who has one heck of a story to tell. Without a doubt, he stands and delivers pure comedy and humor that will leave a big impact on you, and why we can't wait to have him here in Harrisonburg. Welcome to the show, Big Daddy Laugh-A-Lot. It's great to have you on today.
Thank you for having me, Miss Dawn. Thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here.
I am glad that you are here. Last time I saw you perform was at a conference in Triangle, Virginia. We were at the Living on Laughter Gospel Comedy Association event, and you're so hilarious. I got my ab workout in for sure that day. There's no question about it. And I'm super excited to have you here. So I thought we would just start with learning a little bit about you. Like, where are you originally from and where do you live now?
I'm originally from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I currently stay in Lancaster, South Carolina. Lancaster, South Carolina. Well, sisters say Lancaster, Pennsylvania is Lancaster, South Carolina.
We have a similar thing going on with Harrisonburg. Sometimes we get confused with Harrisburg in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Versus Harrisonburg in Virginia.
Okay.
At least Lancaster in Pennsylvania is the same as Lancaster in South Carolina. So I don't know what happens there, but it happens.
It happens.
It happens. Tell us more about the story of filling in as the host for the event you were attending, and then before you knew it, being asked to host another event as a comedian.
Well, we was at a church conference, and we had like several different churches came in, and the original host that was supposed to have been hosting the conference, he wasn't there, and then somebody was like, well, get Jerry. He always cutting up and joking, he can, make us laugh until, we start the program or whatever. And so I got up and got the mic, and I just started telling jokes and messing with the people in the audience, and the rest was history. And then one of the ladies that was attending the conference, she was a pastor as well, with a few more pastors. They were like, well, I'm having an anniversary next week. Did you come? We'll pay you. I say, pay me? You meant to tell me I can get money for this? And I was like, well, okay. And they was like, yeah. I was like, well, and the rest is history.
She spoke in dollar bills, y'all, and you said yes.
So 22 years later, so I'm still in the game.
Oh my gosh. I said 20. You said 22? It's 22 years now?
22 years in the game.
Oh my goodness. So that's what inspired you to keep going to become a professional comedian after that experience, or what?
It was just to see I had been going through a lot of emotional things myself. I was going through some sicknesses in my body, and, I had just lost my job, and, and I was praying one night, and I asked the Lord, I said, you gave me this family, God. And I say, I need to take care of my family. I say, so it's going to be hard for me to get a job. And it was going back and forth, trying to get disability or whatever. And, God said, what's in your hand? And I was like, what's in my hand? He was like, your gift. And it just reflected back to the comedy. And, and after that, and I just started thinking, why am I go around here and mope and be sad when I serve a God that's bigger than my situation?
Mm.
And so, and I just seen the people that was there, and I knew it was a lot of people there that was going through a lot of things, and they had such a good time, and they was like, man, we really enjoyed it. And I was like, wow. So it just inspired me to just like put all my problems aside and just trust God through the process. And I say, this is something I want to do. I just want to see people smile instead of feeling the way that I felt at that moment. That when I felt it and started asking, questioning God, why am I going through what I was going through?
Mm. And you see it as a gift from God to be able to do comedy.
Yes, ma'am. Because before I went to prison, I was a pharmaceutical technician with no license. That's how I got my prison term.
Okay.
So
I see. All right.
I went through that. And, a lot of people find religion in jail to try to, like they trying to persuade God to get me out. Oh, I'm gonna serve you while I'm in here. And then when they get out, they walk the other way and go back doing the same thing. But I waited till I got out and made sure I was sure that that's the journey that I wanted to take. And when my wife came into my life and she introduced me to Christ, and me and her been on that journey together for the last almost 31, 32 years almost.
Wow. That was a big decision for you. Where did you meet your wife?
I met my wife while I was on work release at Tyson Foods in Monroe, North Carolina. She was a worker there, and she was real shy, and it was like mixing oil and water together, And she was real churchy and from the country, and I was from the city, and I was like, she was over. Well, you don't go, leave me alone. I don't bet, And it was like, but they were just fake. They would have it, We just, became good friends, and she introduced me to the church. And when she introduced me to church, and this was gonna be my wife, and 2 years after we dated, we got married.
2 years. That's pretty
2 years.
quick. I
2
mean,
years.
there's been quicker, but that's still pretty quick.
Yeah, but we had our first. Well, she got pregnant with a baby girl. Maybe about a year after that, because my baby girl just turned 39. I'm at 29 2 days ago, and I just
Wow.
she has been there the whole time, So, and I love the journey that I'm on now. I could tell people the goodness of Jesus and what I went through as a testimony. That let people know that you can change.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you had a bit of a tougher life before all of this happened, which got you to prison. But then, was there someone in the prison that introduced you to God? And
I was introduced to God, but then when I got to myself, I was like, I seen so many people that really wasn't really sold all the way out for Christ, and it just seemed like it was like they was really trying to fake it, to really just trying to get on the list to have good behavior so they can get released earlier or whatever. Because they would give you they would take some time off of you attended church. You would get credit for going to church or whatever, but still they would come back to the bunk and they'd be in the cell doing the same thing and saying and talking the way they was talking before they went to church. I was like, dude, what's the sense of you going if you're gonna come back and act the same way? I didn't want to play with God like that. I don't think that's something that, because I wanted to be a real thing, what I'm saying? Because, his love for me was real. And I wanted my love for him to be real. I didn't want it to be fabricated and go ahead and try to say, I want to try to get out of prison, say just go ahead and, just do what I needed to do. So I was like, wow.
Yeah. And so then it was after that when you met your wife, then you
when I got on work release, and that's when I met my wife, when I was on work release.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an incredible story. How long were you in prison?
I was in prison for 5 years.
That is a significant chunk of time.
Yeah, it is, but I feel like if you did the wrong, the crime, but I was to the point where, I had to pay for what I done. And I wasn't shying away from it because I know I had done wrong. And I got caught for it. I owned up to it. And the judge said, I just appreciate your honesty. And I told him, I say, hey, I done wrong, so I have to pay for it. So I had more time than that.
Oh, really?
Yes, ma'am. I had 11 years.
Oh, wow.
But it was cut in half, because the COs, they spoke up for me and everything. It was like, he's really not a bad guy. He keep to himself. Most times you see him, he laugh when talking with someone. He's always in a good mood. If you ask him to do something, it's not real, bossy or pushy or try to buck up against the system. So there just was a lot of things that factored in my favor. And I just start seeing the things in life a lot different. Sometimes you got to get locked up to get set free.
Wow.
I was going through a lot of emotional things and stuff out in the world with my mom, and it just wasn't a good feeling. So, and when I got locked up, it just, gave me time to think and reevaluate my life, to put it in the right perspective and put things in the order that I can understand a lot more now than I didn't then when I was younger.
How would you say your perspective changed then from what it was before you were locked up to how you see the world now?
I'll see the world from being at 20 something. I was just like, I was gun ho. Everything, I just went in and head first, never thought about anything, and just do it. It just like whatever it was, I felt like I was big enough and bold enough to I just do it. But now I look at it as a learning post. And I learned a lot of things when I was locked up, and I learned a lot of things from then to now. I learned, and it taught me how to minister to younger guys that's coming up, young adults in their 20s and 30s, teenagers. I can go in the rough neighborhoods and talk to them and let them know, about being a drug dealer and what's the outcome. It's either two places you're going to end up. And I felt like, a lot of people didn't understand until I gave them the whole story. Where I was raised up in a rough environment. I was raised up in a rough neighborhood. And, and that was the general way that a lot of us survived it, that we felt like that we was going to be able to come up and we wanted to have the nice things. Everybody was on the system, trying to get something from the system. And I just didn't want to do that. I just wanted to try to make better for my family. And it just didn't turn well, for the most part of it did. But then when they caught me, it took everything away. So, it wasn't really worth it in me.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. And what does the CO stand for those of us that might not be familiar with that term? Well,
it's like the commanding officer in prison, like, okay. the guards or whatever, they call them COs or whatever.
Okay.
So they over you, so they like, here come the COs or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'd imagine I would say yes, sir.
Yeah.
Or yes, ma'am, whatever.
Because it's like this. It's pretty much they tell you when to get up, lay down. So you have no choice in the matter. You either do that or you go in the hole. They take you to a solitary confinement, and they had some rough ones. But when I first went to prison, before I got transferred to another one, there was a processing center you go to, and that was like Raleigh, North Carolina. And that was the main big prison. They actually had a box out in the middle of the field.
Really?
And I'm talking about, it was just big enough for you to squat down in. And if you was claustrophobic, it was a lot of people was losing their mind when they would leave them people in that for like 72 hours. They couldn't move. And they were just confined to that one place, you know, and then they had like the only thing they had was just a little sliding door. They left you out there through the cold weather conditions. You couldn't lay down. All you had to do was just sit in that one folded up spot, you know, and it broke a lot of criminals.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
That sounds very intense.
It was horrible.
I hope you weren't in there.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay,
I didn't have the luxury of going, and I'm glad I didn't.
Me too. Me too. Oh my gosh.
That was like it was like if you was a known felon, and you know you always was troublemaking, and you always wanted to go against the gods, and you want to be rebellious all the time. You know, they had a way of convincing you that they was in control.
Mm.
You know, and you sitting out there, and then like even if it was snowing or whatever else, whatever condition climate it was, the climate, that box would tell you, and it would get colder or either hotter in that box.
Oh my gosh. It sounds horrible, to be frank.
Terrible.
Yes, it does. And I'm so thankful you weren't in it. What would you say is the most challenging part of that 5 years for you?
The most challenging part of that was being away from my kids. I had 3 young kids at that particular time. I had never been separated from them. And when they came to see me and to see them leave the prison and them crying, telling me, Daddy, come on, Daddy, I want you to come home with us. And I couldn't leave with them. And I had to emotionally wrap my mind around seeing them walk out of there and seeing them crying and leaving me there, you know. And I knew that I had to change something in my life because I didn't want to continue that cycle, you know. So, and I thank God for that moment because it showed me what I was losing and what I was missing out on.
Yeah. How old were they at that time?
Well, at the time, my oldest son at that time, he was 7. No, he was 9. And then my daughters were 4 and 5.
Very young.
Very young. And it was just something that, you know, I don't think any father should experience. A mother, you know, because, you know, they had the women prison not too far from it. And I know a lot of women that went through that same emotional trauma. That's why I believe that I gravitate to comedy so much now, because the years that I missed then, I just try to regain every moment of laughter that I can. See others enjoy and embrace themselves to enjoy laughter, because that part of my life wasn't a good part.
No, it sounds very challenging, but also in that dark time, some incredible blessings that came out of it for you. And what would you say would be, if you had to give a top 3 big blessings from it, what would you say they are?
Top 3 big blessings. To learn that the system will always win. And that cherish the moments with your loved ones as much as you can. And find yourself as much as possible. Find yourself as much as possible. Because I learned so much about myself in that process, in that time, that I didn't really know. I didn't think I had the patience for a lot of things that I had to have patience for, that I was forced to have patience with.
Yeah.
So, but I learned that through that, the most biggest blessing I came through and found out in reality was God is still amazing.
He is, yes.
God is still amazing, because a lot of people I seen come in there lost their mind. but I was able to hold it together. And I kept a sense of humor, through it all, I mean, they like, how can you laugh and you locked up? I said, what I'm doing? It ain't
Yeah.
like, but I can just cut a hole in the fence and escape
Yeah.
and get locked back up for more time.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah.
it was a blessing. I mean, it taught me just to really just be able to go out here and minister to the younger people, and that's part of my ministry now. I'm able to relate to a lot of young guys and stuff, that's out here in the street that want to try to go out here and do things, and I talk to them, even though some of them listen and some of them don't. But, but the ones that do, I thank God for that I was able to reach and get through to them. But the ones that don't, they'll find out sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
But I hope it's
Yeah.
not too late.
You hope what?
I hope it's not too late.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's a beautiful testimony of being able to use a very dark time that you are now out of and past to help influence other young people, hopefully, to avoid going down that path
Yes,
and making some better decisions. And it really does take lots of times somebody who can be very relatable and understand what's going through their mind and what they're thinking and the emotions that they're having and the challenges that they're facing. And when someone else really understands it, when you say, I understand, and have gone through something similar, it hits different, when you really have, like, they get it, people feel it, people sense it. So I'm thankful that you're doing that work now. That's really awesome.
People, and saying a lot of things about it, and another thing about it too, people know when people are genuine, and people know when somebody have been through something and know when they suffered and went through something that was traumatic, but they was able to go through it with a God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they know that you telling them the truth, and they know that you know what you're talking about, because you get some of the guys like, yeah, I've been locked up, man, and then you find say, well, how long you been locked up? Well, I stayed overnight in the drunk tank. You wasn't locked up. You just spent the night at the jailhouse.
Yep.
Yeah, you just till you sobered up.
Yeah, that's a far cry from 5 years. I would say.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm glad you kept your sense of humor.
Yeah, I am too.
I'm sure that was a blessing to people around you too. Your real name is Jerry Cooke. So how did you get the name Big Daddy Laugh-A-Lot? Now hold on before you answer that question and tell me about it, because I have a feeling this is a good story. So I'm gonna grab some gobbler mix here from our sponsor, Pre-Popsterous Gourmet Popcorn. It's so delicious, and they send our guests some popcorn. Did you get it yet?
Well, I'm anticipating it coming, so that I can keep the name going. So I want your name to keep going. So we gonna pop it up.
It's delicious. I can't wait for you to get it. Did you know that when you get it and you eat this popcorn, that you're going to be eating some award-winning popcorn? Did you know this?
Wait a minute. What, award-winning popcorn?
Award-winning popcorn.
What do they come with a whole Oscar.
Well, I don't know about that, but they did win the Made in Virginia Award from Virginia Living magazine for being one of the best craft goods in the Commonwealth. How about that?
Wow. Well, I will feel very honored when I get my popcorn. So what, I get a box, a bag, or what?
You can get a box with 3 different flavors in it.
Oh, no, what are the flavors?
Well, they have all kinds. They have sweet and savory. I don't know what she's going to send you, Tish, at Pre-Popsterous, but she keeps sending people this delicious popcorn. So we'll see what she sends you.
Well, you tell her I'm ready. I am waiting. And you got me ready to get the popping and chewing.
I know. It's so good.
I see you can't stop.
I'm stuffing my face over here right now. It's fantastic. And Lappers, let me tell you something. You can order yourself some online too and have it shipped right to your door, just like Preposterous is going to ship it right to Big Daddy Laugh-A-Lot's door. And you can save money too. Yes. And you can save money too using discount promo code LAUGH15 when you visit prepopsterous.com to buy some today. That's prepopsterous.com, prepopsterous.com.
Bring on the popcorn.
Bring on popcorn.
Bring on the popcorn.
Gobble it up.
They're going to need some June the 3rd, though, too. They're going to need some popcorn June the 3rd.
Yeah, we do. We give away Prepopsterous popcorn at the show.
For real?
Yeah, there's a show you're at. We'll be giving away some free popcorn to people that buy tickets to it. Wow. Right there, that night, live.
That is so beautiful.
I know.
I just don't know what to say. I have never had that done.
I know. Now Big Daddy Laugh-A-Lot's winning his Oscar. So for real, how did you get this name, Jerry?
Well, I just want my name to be original,
Mm.
And I was like, again, it just came by praying.
Yeah.
Cause I just kept trying to come up with a name. I was like, Big Daddy. And they was like, then one of my cousins, he was like, ain't no way I'm just going to call you Big Daddy. I'm not calling no another grown man no Big Daddy. We not doing that. Mm. And I was like, what? He said, you always laughing. I said, I'm always laughing. I said, I laugh a lot. And I said, you know what? That might sound pretty catchy. So I said, let me try it out. I made some T-shirts with that on there.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I had them, but I need to make me some more of them because I did sell them. I was selling them and I went and I did my little show and stuff. That's when I was a rookie in the game. And I had it on there and I was like, had my little name and I had like Mary Hart Does Good as a Medicine and had Big Daddy Laugh-A-Lot on it. People like, let me get one of those T-shirts. I was like, okay. And like, that's catchy.
It is.
That's catchy. And I was like, all right. The Lord done it again.
It is a fun name. Even when you hear it, it makes you laugh. We were introducing that you would be the headliner at the last Court Square show on April 15th and said Big Daddy Laugh-A-Lot. And they laughed a lot.
Yeah. And people, when they introduce me, they say it so dramatic. All right, coming to the stage. Big Daddy Laugh-A-Lot. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay. I got to go out here and do something now.
It's like you're entering the boxing ring,
I got to go out here like the heavyweight champ. I got to go out here. I got one dude. I have two dudes.
The Muhammad Ali of comedy, everybody.
Like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I tell one joke and 1, 2, 3.
Oh, we're going to have fun, Lappers. It's going to be great. 20 years is a long time to be working as a comedian. 22 now. Let me correct myself. What are 22. What are some of the most memorable places you have performed?
I'm gonna tell you something. The biggest memory, the best memory that I ever had. I was doing this church in Monroe, North Carolina, called Essence of the Cross. It was a youth conference. I was doing comedy for the youth. And in the middle of that, the Lord had me to stop and minister to the young kids. And 48 young people gave their life to Christ that night.
Wow.
They counted, it was 48 young people gave their life to Christ that night. I don't think nothing else could top that.
Mm.
It was such a blessing.
Mm.
Every time I think about it, it just really just make me feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm.
Because them young people was so excited. They was laughing, having a ball. And then when I stopped in the middle and began to ask them who felt safe in their own neighborhood, and nobody raised their hand, I say, who want to feel safe in their neighborhood?
Mm.
And the young people raised their hands. And I was like, if you've been handing your life over to Christ tonight, that could put you in that position to be safe.
Mm.
And I'm going to tell you, them young people flooded that altar.
Mm.
And we went over the sinner's prayer. Then we did Romans 10, 9 and 10. And it just was so beautiful. The atmosphere was just so beautiful. I don't think nowhere I could ever go could ever compare to that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's what it's about. Seeing people laugh and then but see somebody laugh their way into salvation and give their life to the Lord. It's just something that is something about that.
Mm.
And then right now, you know, those young kids, I was doing a comedy show Saturday night, and one of those young kids, he remembered me from that about 12 or 13 years ago.
No way. He was there on Saturday night and he came and talked to you?
He came up and talked to me. He was like, you remember me? He said, I was there. I was a little dude. I was like, yeah, you still a little dude compared to me, but yeah. He's like, no, he said, no, for real. I was a young guy at the comedy conference. And he said, man, I told my mama you was coming. And he said, my mama then was so shocked. And I was like, wow.
Wow.
13 years later, and he still remembers.
That's amazing. Sounds like a big impact on him as well to come up and talk to you afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm blessed.
You are blessed. And I hope that young man's doing well.
He's doing well. If nothing else failed, the seed was planted.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, one plant, one water, and God gets the increase.
It's a big God.
Yes, he's a huge, humongous God.
That's true. Who has been your biggest comedy influences that you feel has made an impact on your craft?
It's a lot of well-known comedians, but I'm gonna tell you who really just showed me something that really just blessed my heart. Kenny Cornbread Robinson.
Get out. I love Kenny Cornbread Robinson. We've had him on the podcast too, and on several of our shows. Yes.
Because the love that man showed, man, every time, you know, because, you know, I had a benefit program April the 15th.
Okay.
You know, they was trying to amputate my legs, right?
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. And so a lot of the comedians was getting together and was trying to raise money for me because they wanted to get this machine for me. But to God be the glory, I'm walking, I'm doing what I need to do, you know. So they trying some other things. So I'm getting around good. I'm on tour. And he just like he's special.
He is special. Yes.
And every time like they have the Living on Laughter comedy conference, he always go above and beyond helping everybody.
Yes.
And, you know, and then he was like, man, if you need me to come and do something for you, man, I won't charge you nothing, you know, to help
Oh,
you get what you, I was like, wow, man, you know, you don't find a lot of people do that.
right.
But, you know, it's just the way that when to see him love to see people laugh and interact with each other and smile and enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
I won two trophies that
Uh,
year that I won the comedy competition.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I won one for the most influential comedian, and I won the comedy competition.
Oh, yeah. I missed that. I couldn't stay for that part. So,
I won. Yeah, I won. Yeah, because it was just so many people that just came around me and they sit with me the whole day. You know, Jennifer O'Brien, June Bond. Um, man, it was just like so many comedians. They were just sitting there. You know, I was just telling them like the situation that what I was going through. You know, just giving part of my testimony and my things that I went through, and they were just sitting there. They was like, "Wow." For you to keep a sense of humor to still, you know, go through that. I say it doesn't take the life out of you. I say
mm,
it should, you know, empower you to go out here and do more and just be grateful and keep excelling.
mm. Yeah, I love the message in this episode that's coming through is to be grateful.
That's it.
Even in the dark times, to be grateful.
Because when you do, I mean, God loves a cheerful giver. And that
Yeah.
means not only in finances, but in when you give of yourself to other people to make sure, to ensure them that they don't have to go through that same pathway that you went through, you
Hmm.
know, and be grateful that what you did come out of. You don't have to sit there and portray him as being a bad God because what the choices, the decision that you made, you know, I'm not going to override your will, but you know what I'm saying? He give you a will to understand, hey man, you don't have to go out here and do something crazy.
Hmm.
But you know, you don't be what you gonna be upset with him for.
Hmm.
You got to show love. I mean, it's one of those things.
Love is a great thing. Love can heal a lot, just like comedy can heal a lot, I think. Do you agree with
Yeah.
that?
That what you say, you never know what a person is going through.
Yep.
And you talk about, I was doing a show one time, though, Miss Dawn, and this guy was sitting there, and the whole time he looked like he had just had two of his favorite lemons in his jaws. He was just like, and after the show, he was like, man, you so hilarious, man. I got to buy some of them DVDs you got. I was like, what? Like, I thought something was wrong with his face. He was like, I had myself a ball. I was like, really?
Because he wasn't laughing out loud or anything and looked a little angry.
Yeah, he was chuckling in the, I guess he was chuckling in the inside, you know. He would say he had himself a good time. Like, wow, I couldn't really tell what did.
Yeah, that has happened to me too. Somebody come up and I'll be like, really? Yeah, it was wonderful. You're hilarious.
Like, you'll say appearances can fool you, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe just an introvert style. Maybe that's it,
That's it. That's
because
what
they
I was
don't,
saying.
yeah, they just don't show as much. It's all
Yeah,
internal. So that could be it. Yeah. 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 Let's talk about this comedy a little bit. How would you describe your performance style on stage?
yeah. How about before? I'm just relatable.
Mm.
I just try to meet people where they're at. And my style is just like, I'm just a down home country boy. Just talking and just like to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yes.
know, sometimes people just sit on the front porch and just be ribbing each other, just ribbing each other.
Right.
And I just, my style is more like, you know, like something like that.
Yeah, I would say so. And I've seen you also take in your environment and make it a part of your show, which is really fabulous.
I'm telling you, you have to bring them where you at. You know what I'm saying? Because you get the crowd, they be sitting there looking at you like, hey, nah, we ain't gonna do this. I struggle to get up here. I'm gonna bring you with me. You coming on this journey with me. We is not doing this.
It's really fun, and I could tell that you have jokes that have greatest hits are mixed in there, but then you have sort of an improv style where you do just that, and it is so much fun. How do you come up with your comedy material, and what is your writing process like?
Like if I go to church or something, if I see something, and I might put I might jot a couple notes down or something, and somebody might be talking about something in church. Because every time I go to church, it's just one fella at my church and my pastor. They always ribbing me about something. I said, y'all gonna get off me. Y'all gonna leave me alone. What y'all ain't gonna do is keep bothering me. You're like, when you bother everybody else, we thought we gonna get the jump on you. So, but I'm always writing, always seeing little funny memes or something, and I'll take something off that. Some life experience that I think about, I sit down and be thought about, like, that was fun. And I'll just add something to it, take something out of it and create it and make it a little story or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just different ways that I come up with my scenes and plots or whatever else I do. So, I just thank God, for how he gave me the style to write,
Yeah. Do you write in a notebook?
Like me and you talking now. Yeah, I got a little notebook. Now I'm talking about you eating that way you was eating that popcorn. I ain't never seen nobody glasses fog up from eating popcorn. You know what I'm saying? So that's got to be some good popcorn.
It's really good. Do you write in a notebook or do you use Word or both?
I got a little notebook. I got a notebook. I'd rather do the hands-on way. I like to do that. You know what I'm saying? I like to do that so I can go back and reflect on the notebook so I can scratch it out and add something to it, I'd rather do it like that because, saying you could take it with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, have it in the car with you. First you try to pull out a whole tablet and trying to put something in it or whatever else, you just flip the notebook out and write that in there, it's insert, take that in there.
Okay. Yeah. We all seem to have our own way of writing and coming up with material. And I see it's done it for me, and I see this happening to other comedians too. It sort of evolves over time too. So you might start in one direction in a notebook and then go to a tablet and then say, oh, I don't like the tablet, and go back to the notebook.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you get into the Word document and like, this is great. I like organizing it this way. Everybody's just a little bit different, I find, with that. Yeah. And that's good. It all works. What is your favorite part of being a comedian?
The favorite part about being a comedian?
Yeah.
Able to bring laughter to a situation we never know what a person going through.
Mm.
Just the curiosity of it, of walking into a room and just looking out over and saying, hey, we don't know what these people going through.
Mm-mm.
But if I can make them laugh and forget about their problems just for this moment while I'm on stage, that's something.
That is something.
That's the challenge for me, just to go on stage. Like, I'll be like, yeah. Go out there. Don't laugh, fall on them. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. But that's my biggest thing. To go out and just the curiosity of walking into a room and never knowing what a person's going through, and having enough God or humor in you that you can bring laughter to them make them forget about it for that moment.
I love that. It is the beauty of what we do. I know
Yeah.
it's a blessing for me when I watch somebody else do comedy and I can be so present and laughing and filled with joy that whatever struggles are happening do get to take a break for a minute. They get to go on vacation for a second.
Your husband, he cool as a menthol snowball. You hear me? Your husband is cool. That's one cool cat.
Well, the cool cat will be performing with you on June 3rd, too.
That's my dude there. That's my dude there.
He'll love to hear that. Being called a cool cat.
He cool as a menthol snowball. I'm telling you.
That's awesome. You also work as a motivational speaker. What do you speak about, and do you infuse any of your stand-up in your messages when you do motivational speaking?
Well, a lot of times I do, because a lot of times, people, when you you talk about people transitioning their life from being this type of person to trying to get them to head in the direction of going into finances, ministry, or whatever the case may be, whatever you're talking about that particular time, it's good to interject a little humor in it, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
To let them know that you're not stiff-necked or trying to judge them or whatever else, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to get a valid point across to them to just, to show them that, you are serious about what you got on, but you're not to the point where you're trying to drill something in them to make them want to do this. But, they got to be really, if they see you enjoying what you do,
Mm-hmm.
that, it may not be bad. So I'm always trying to find new ways when I'm doing motivational speaking to interject something that gives some people something to think about. Put a little humor in it, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, and then he said this, he was so serious, and then he said this, man. I was like, really? I had a serious face sometimes, you know what I
mean? Yeah.
And then I'll say something, they were like, man, I thought you were for real.
Gotcha.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's great that you do motivational speaking too. I've seen some other comics get into that as well. And we could use a lot of motivational speaking these days and humor.
Yes. Both are needed. Both are needed.
Both are needed right now. So I appreciate that you are bringing these gifts to our world. And I think this is a good time as we wrap up here to ask you, how can people best follow you on social media or otherwise to connect with you and get more information?
Just go to Jerry Cooke, that's Cooke, on Facebook. And also you can go on my comedy page, comedian Big Daddy Laugh a Lot. Now I haven't kind of figured out the IG name yet real good. I'm just still old school. I just still listen. Inbox me, send me a message on Facebook. All this Instagram and all this other stuff. TikTok and
I was going to ask, not going down the TikTok road, huh?
No. Them guys make a lot of money doing that, though.
Some of them do, yeah.
Yeah, I know a couple of them that's making like $60,000 a month.
Doing TikTok comedy?
TikTok. I mean, they have become creators, and they look for the content. They continually making content, and they putting it on there. And and once you make so much, and and you start getting those checks coming in every month, every week, or however they do it. But a lot of people say they make pretty good money. So I don't knock it.
So you might try it.
It crossed my mind.
$60,000 a month might cross a few minds.
Let me tell you something. That could take a lot of burden off a person.
I haven't dipped into it yet either. I have a few people, Dawn, if you would just do it, it would be great. Oh.
But Jennifer O'Brien, she does it. Jennifer, what's her name?
Oh, okay.
You know her? You remember?
Yeah. I'll need to ask her about that.
She does a character. She got a character that works at Walmart. Then she got that lady that sit on the front porch. Hi, everybody. How you doing? See you tonight at the church.
Maybe I should pull out Dollar Daisy again.
Pull her out. Maybe
tax accountant Dollar Daisy. I did a comedy sketch with a troupe I used to work with called Friendly City Comedy, and we just did sketches for fun, nothing regular. It's still on YouTube.
You need to transition it over and see what it might do over on TikTok.
I could do Dollar Daisy.
Because let me tell you something. The name alone is very intriguing because a lot of people be like, Dollar Daisy.
What, she got an OnlyFans page?
That's what I
Psych.
Like,
but I got you some spreadsheets right here.
Listen, if you want to learn how to work a spreadsheet, I got you right here. It's gonna be like, man,
Oh, that was great.
I'll tell you, you are something, Miss Dawn.
I told you I was a hot mess express.
This is one of the best. This has been an awesome interview.
It has. Oh my goodness. All right, we're getting back on track, laughers. We'll be sure to put Big Daddy Laugh-A-Lot's information for you in the show notes. Plus, we will also have that discount promo code LAUGH15 so that you can buy your delicious gourmet popcorn at prepopsterous.com in the show notes for you as well. Thank you so much for joining me today, Big Daddy Laugh-A-Lot. This has been super fun and insightful, encouraging, original, and motivating. I love any chance that I get to hang out with you. You are definitely a blessing in my life. I do count that twice. And thank you again for being on this show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. You, Dollar Daisy, and your jumping jaws with your popcorn. It's been really a blessing.
Oh, thank you. Will Samesies, laughers, you can see Big Daddy Laugh-A-Lot perform live here in Harrisonburg on June 3rd in the second season of the X2 comedy series at Court Square Theater. Plus, you won't want to miss this hilarious lineup that includes 3 local comedians, myself, Chris Womack, and you called him what now? Cool Cat? Cool as what?
He cooled a menthol snowball.
And there it is, also known as JMU's funny professor and new local talented comic Lightning Lucas. Plus, your feature is Nathan Carlson out of Richmond and your headliner who you have heard from today, Big Daddy Laugh-A-Lot. We can't wait. You can buy your tickets at x2comedy.com or at courtsquaretheater.org. That's theater with an ER. We'll have that ticket link in the show notes for you as well. So you be safe. If you're driving or working out, when you stop, you can catch that link and don't miss out on all the fun and buy your tickets today. And lastly, and most importantly, thanks for tuning in, laughers. Out of all the podcasts out there, you picked us, and we think that's pretty darn special, just like you. Until next time, keep smiling. Bye.
Bye. Woo! See you June the 3rd.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Virginia is for Laughers podcast, brought to you by X2 Comedy. We'll be dropping a new podcast every Wednesday, so check back for another uplifting episode. Come to an X2 Comedy show or let us bring one to you. To find out more, head to x2comedy.com. Be sure to share this podcast with a friend, and until next time, cheers.